for the last few weeks, we've been melting aluminum here in the workshop and casting the missing pieces we need for our 1972 Carnival ride. We're not just trying to fix this thing, we're trying to make it look like it did the day it rolled out of the factory. All these raw castings, they're ugly, covered in rough edges and flashing and imperfections, and that's where today's work comes in. Sanding and grinding and machining and doing whatever it takes to make these raw castings look like something that actually belongs on this ride. First thing we need to do is cut off all the extra flashing and the sprues from these castings. This is the wheel we did where the mold wasn't quite closed all the way. I was doing all these pieces on the large bandsaw at work during lunch. It has a lot more power than my bandsaw at home. So we need to see about cleaning up some of these castings. I got this nifty new tool here. Gonna see how it works. Actually works pretty good. Yeah, that doesn't work bad at all. I think I'm gonna put a mask on though, just to be safe. I'm also gonna put this apron on so I don't get completely covered in aluminum dust. I think I need some air tool oil in this. This air file was purchased using funds from Patreon supporters. Your contributions do really make a difference. Alright, well I think my sandpaper here is just about worn out. And I don't have more coming in until tomorrow. So, I think we're done with this for tonight, but this tool does a nice job, so that's good to know.
The next day.
This is going to take a long time. So we switched to the bandsaw here in the shop. It doesn't have quite the power as the do-all at work. That's unfortunate. So this is a long job, and there's not much to it other than just slogging through it and getting it done. And I was showing you that I had Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering up on the TV as some background noise, and while I was showing you that, the blade on the bandsaw just decided to break on its own. I wasn't even cutting. So I guess if I had been cutting when that happened, I would have just assumed, well, I pushed too hard or whatever. But in this case, it was just running, so I guess literally that blade was just done. Yeah, it looks like it broke at the weld. Well, I've only got one other one, and it's a little bit coarser. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that actually worked really well. That's probably more in line with the tooth count we should have been using to begin with. I just didn't want to change the blade. So new sanding belts have arrived. It's time to swap this out and continue on with prepping these steering wheels. Get in there with the deburring tool for that stuff. I think we need a saw or something to cut that out of there. Well, I hope we don't have too many like that. Almost be easier to recast them to deal with all that.
Much later.
Finally getting some of these castings over to the lathe. I'll be drilling the hole for the shaft as well as removing the remaining extra metal from the pouring sprue and also cleaning up the outside diameter of the wheel. Well, I machined all the wheels I had prepped. I need to get back to cleaning up flashing. There's almost nothing to these blades. You gotta let the blade do the work and not push too hard. I'm shocked that this blade has lasted as long as it has. This belt is disintegrating. Alright, next thing we gotta do here is machine all these steering mounts. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this part of it. I put these little divots in the pattern, and that gives me a little witness mark that I can use to drill these holes. So I'm using a little center drill here just to get me on target. Then I just drill through with a number 10 drill. And then I give it a counter bore. And again, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. As I'm going through machining these parts, I start to think about how the original pieces were made. I'm wondering if the workers went through a similar process in prepping them, or if maybe they were originally die cast and didn't require quite this amount of extra work.
After we get all of these machined, the next thing I'm going to have to do is create some sort of fixture to hold this piece. So we need to hold it at an angle to drill that and tap it for the steering wheel bolt. So I'm working my way through these. I only have I guess 8 left. And we move to the other side. That little mark that I left in the mold was just enough to center up on. So those are done. Next thing I need to do is drill and tap all of these, and I'm currently working on a fixture to hold the pieces at the proper angle to do that.
Once again, I'm back at work for this job. The digital readouts on the Bridgeport make laying out these hole locations trivial compared to reading dials and dealing with backlash on my old Enco mill drill. I got a little carried away here. I really only need 2 holes drilled and tapped, but with the luxury of the digital readout, I was just having fun. The chances of me ever needing this fixture again is almost 0. Next, I need a plate to hold the steering wheel mount. I need 2 holes tapped 1024 to hold the mount and 2 1/4-inch holes to attach it to the angle plate. That's it. This should just fit on here.
Alright, let's get this fixture installed and see if it's going to work as good as I think it's going to. Line up again with that divot. Looks pretty good. See if we're going too fast for this. Yeah, we're definitely going too fast for that. I'm going to need to change my drill speed here. Stand by. Not sure exactly how deep I should be going here. Figure out something that looks good, then maybe put some tape on it. It's probably plenty deep. We only have to tap it that far. Alright, let's see how far that... needs just a little bit more. Let's just see how this looks. There we go. And the old one had like a spacer washer. So that's pretty much perfect. This is going to be kind of a slow process, but I think it's going to give us excellent results. Alright, that's one. 19 to go. I wonder if I can do this or not. Yep. That's pretty much what I expected. There it goes. So we received a shipment of sandpaper today. I think we're going to move on to that and check that out. This just arrived today, and I'm curious to see if higher quality sandpaper will make a difference. So let's get this off of here. We're having a lot of trouble with the joints tearing apart. So we'll see if 3M quality makes a difference. All right, so far so good. Well, I have to say that better quality sandpaper really makes a difference. This is going so much faster. So all of this before I would have tried cutting off with the saw. Yeah, this is a night and day difference. This pack of 10 belts, I think, cost almost as much as I paid for the tool, but these are worth it. There's no doubt about it. That's going to speed things up tremendously. All right, we got a few upgrades to our process as we're working through this here. First off, we got this little applicator bottle for our cutting fluid. Mark over at Winky's Workshop, he sent me a couple of these to use in a different project, which I haven't gotten to yet, but they work out really good for applying a controlled amount of fluid, getting it right where you want it. So that's the first upgrade. Alright, and the second major upgrade is I went and I got myself a sharper tap, which I can actually put in the chuck. We should be able to just run this down in here That really speeds up that process. I had 2 left for the girl of my dreams.
I feel sick. I gotta go home now.
Yeah, we went clear through that one. This is our last one. Alright. A little of the juice. Another one I went a little overboard on. Those are done. Alright, so there's only 2 left now. And this is the last one. That'll do, pig. That'll do.
So this is what hours and hours of work have yielded. And we still have a little bit of work we need to do cleaning up wise before we can powder coat these. And also I seem to be missing 4 shoulder bolts. I thought that I had purchased all I needed when I got these. They might actually be with the 4 steering wheels we made last year, but I've got plenty of time to find 4 more bolts before the end of this project. And if you don't want to miss any of that, click that link to the left and come along for the ride.